person sees all.
Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by. Bonjour tout le monde, merci d'être passé. This is the sun. Well, the underneath the sun, the radiation that we're seeing around it. I showed it in the video yesterday. We're not going to linger long on this one, trust me. But I do want to show you this again. Look on the top right, that circle that we're seeing in the sky. Now we're going to see this on the moon, okay? It's the same thing. It's the exact, it's even more circular, and it's beside Plato crater. It's always there. It's a transparent circle that you can see through. I'm not kidding. I'm going to show it to you guys without any filter on the surface of the moon. There's some energy coming off that big sun the night of the solar storm before it came. Look at that on top, that object, the blue object that you see on top. Depending on your monitor, of course, bringing down the exposure, we can see what happens in the background, meaning if there's any flashes of lights, if there are any celestial objects. Sinus iridum, just an incredible surface here, looking at the surface, and we're gonna see it. This is a pretty unique video as we're getting in more and more closely, and we're gonna see some scary areas that do have constructed objects, what I believe are constructed objects. So what's that, a cannon? It looks like a cannon. It also could pass off as a tower. A line going to the light source at the end. Follow the line. You could see it going to the end there. And many of the objects that I find are constructed almost always have that line connected to that light source. And again, it's billowing smoke. You can't see through it, so you don't know exactly what's up there, right? Here's a beautiful view of the surface. The craters are filled with objects, and they're filled with lines. But these lines, trust me, I followed them for 1,000 miles, and they go from crater to crater to crater, and the line never breaks up. Now, how could that be? By climbing over mountains and going back down over ridges and craters and crevices. How could any line on the surface of the moon remain straight for over 1,000 kilometers? Here's wonderful Bianchini crater that you can see on the top left of this photo. Over to the right, a bit lower, we can see a straight object line, almost rectangular, 90-degree angles. It's east of Bianchini crater. And now if I invert this photo, and that's simply what I'm going to do, we can clearly see, without any trickery, more of the connections and more of the details, and especially some of the connections of the objects up close to Bianchini crater. Now look at these hazes. They're very important. It's proof of other structures that we're not seeing, either due to wavelengths or smaller structures that the telescope is not picking up. What you're looking at is very real. A surface with structures that are constructed, that I believe, and that I'm showing a clear enough proof. Probably the closest view of the surface anyone will ever see in the public. Mark my words, these videos will never get out to the world unless we get them out together. And that's exactly what we're doing. This sacred land, part of our heritage, hidden from us since the beginning of time. It's only normal at one point, all of us find our roots. If you look carefully, the proof is right there also for the fact that there are building-like objects in unison. Now, either they're talking about massive scale production in a big quantity, and I mean big, because these structures are not small. If The measurements that NASA and everyone told us are real. The distances, I don't see why that would not be right. Well, if they are, we're taking into consideration the size. The factor of the size is incredibly large. What looks like square and circular objects all connected, some of them in unison and in line, some up to 6 to 7 in a row that I can see. And those are pretty big structures, so anything smaller than that right now is not seen here. So it's just going into each level, and every time you get in, there's a different set of structures, a different type of structures, yet all connected. Everything is connected. There's like a framing around the surface of the moon. We're seeing different levels, circular and square structures, also even triangular structures, some standing, some laying down, all connected, as I said, like a framing around the moon. Amongst that, we see different levels. We see hazes and smokes and electrical lights of every color underneath those hazes. This circle is always beside Plato Crater. No matter when you go up, it's always there. I'll never see what the world looks like once we've all evolved, because I'll be long gone. But each and every one of us alive right now on this earth are witnesses of the beginning of the evolution of life on earth and the understanding and acceptance that life is everywhere in this universe. Thank you for liking this video and taking the time to subscribe and sharing it on other platforms.
Aliens are gone. Aliens are gone. And they're minding. Really up there. And they're minding on the moon. Aliens are gone. Aliens are gone. This fire. Really up there. And they're minding on the moon. Aliens are gone. Aliens are gone. And they may be coming soon.
This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.
For anything and everything, for whatever the reason you want to send me something, P.O. Box 341 in Valleyfield, Quebec. The postal code is J6S4V6. My name is Bruce Warts.